We have about 100 days to go until the election, and if you believe the polls, Donald Trump is to lose bigly. If that happens, some Americans will crave retribution and revenge, while others just want to move on already. What we, and by we, I actually mean all of us, should really want, though, is to make sure this never happens again. Um, that's because Donald Trump has been competent and motivated. Not really. He probably could have been an autocrat. We seem to be about to dodge this bullet, but we need to take some steps to dodge the next one. Think about it. Trump possessed in almost all the skills a would-be Mussolini might need. He had the demagogic appeal to a cult-like following, the strongman tendencies, see his personal affinity for dictators. Basically, he loves dictators. The attacks on democratic norms, his refusal to clearly state that he will respect the election outcome, an unhealthy disregard for the Constitution. Article 2 allows him to do whatever he wants, that's not exactly what the article says. And a visceral ability to undermine institutions that exist to hold him accountable, basically fake news, enemy of the people, etc. However, a key few ingredients are missing. This is not altogether an observation. As conservative Jonah Goldberg is fond of saying, Hitler could have appealed Obamacare, and center-right reporter Jamie Kirchick observed Donald Trump is not a fascist, he's a golfer, albeit one who cheats at it. But those comments were made before 2020. The real opportunity for Trump came in the form of a crisis, where a confluence of events, COVID-19 and the in the concomitant economic downturn, as well as George Floyd's death and the civil unrest, overshadowed his re-election year. Trump's inadequate response likely doomed his re-election chances when he might have instead seized the day, and maybe more than just that. Ross Douthat, a conservative columnist for the New York Times, marveled that Trump didn't use COVID-19 to accumulate more power, and suggested that he was too incompetent to be a good authoritarian. He emphasized that Trump simply isn't interested enough to become a dictator anyway, but great men and bad men alike seek attention as a means of getting power, but our fake president is interested in power only as a means of getting attention, Douthat wrote. Yes, Trump has started flexing his authoritarian muscles as a means of handling the civil unrest that's still plaguing parts of America, but his decision to surge the law enforcement in Chicago and to send federal agents to the Pacific Northwest can be seen through the lens of his wanting to win re-election by pandering to his voters' authoritarian tendencies. The Atlantic staff writer Ann Applebaum calls this performative authoritarianism, which while bad, is different from out-and-out authoritarianism. This is a way of messaging that we're in charge, we're doing something, we're restraining these forces of violence, and that's designed to appeal to a certain kind of voter who wants to see this control put into the contemporary events, she explained in CNN's reliable sources. The point is that Trump is baneful, but his ineptness and preference for short-term attention over long-term power have prevented him from fully exploiting his potential. As such, his fake presidency should serve as a sort of stress test for those of us who want to preserve the democracy for our children and grandchildren. So what can we do now to deprive any future Trump of the opportunity to become more than a performative authoritarian? After Watergate, several reforms were instituted to prevent a recurrence of what happened with Nixon. We should take our post-Trump opportunity even more seriously. Various organizations and individuals have created roadmaps and blueprints regarding how to Trump-proof the presidency, and all of their ideas should be seriously considered. Some ideas are simple, if not easy. A few of my personal favorites include: parties should consider ranked choice voting for primaries to prevent fringe candidates with a plurality of support from taking over a party. We should change the law so that the candidates should have to release their taxes. We should pass a constitutional amendment doing away with the president's unilateral power to grant pardons, especially his power to pardon family, friends, and himself. Pass a law stating explicitly that a sitting president can be prosecuted for certain crimes committed while seeking the president serving as a president. The danger is that we're always fighting the last war. These reforms would potentially have hampered the current Trump, so the assumption is that they would temper an even more dangerous future Trump. Ultimately, though reforms can only do so much, and they work if adults enforce them and the American public agrees, during the Trump era, it became clear that much of what checked the president's power was concerned about public opinion and how that might register at the ballot box if a president violated the norms. But when the public approves of authoritarian behavior, it also pressures other elected leaders to look the other way. Ultimately, the American people get what they want, and even if they want a strongman, that's what they will eventually have. That's why the real goal in nearly impossible feat is to educate the public about the importance of civics, to reinforce the importance of maintaining a free society, and to educate them on how fragile the American experiments are. The energy to undertake this type of task begins when our acceptance of how dangerously close we came to disaster. Instead of seeking the last 4 years as a bad dream from which we thankfully awoke, or we hope that this happened, this experience should be likened to a brush with death of having dodged a dangerous bullet that might someday ricochet. The danger doesn't end if and when the Trump leaves the White House. At best, we have brought ourselves some time. And we need to avoid another fuck up. We need to avoid a fuck up like this again. I said we can't have any more fuck ups like this. But if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Random Mike, and also hit the notification bell, and then you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And thanks for listening.